Yeah, look, that's a strong message, and it's certainly the case that very few people get any significant reactions to these vaccines. But what a great day it is. You know, if we look back a year ago and think, would we be here starting a mass vaccination campaign with two approved vaccines with local manufacturing, meaning that we're guaranteed to have enough supply for every Australian. It's a great place to be, and I think all Australians are very proud of where we've got to.
Now, what percentage of the population needs to get vaccinated before we have herd immunity?
That's a number we just don't know as yet, because we don't know enough about how these vaccines prevent you actually catching the virus and spreading it to someone else. We do know they're very good at stopping you getting very sick, which is, of course, the main aim here. Keep our hospitals empty, keep people from getting more than just a mild flu. But until we know about those other things like transmission and asymptomatic infection, we're actually not going to know what the herd immunity target is. It'll be a big number, but whether it's 95% of the population or 75%, we just don't know at this stage.
Is there any evidence from other countries, Israel, the United States, anywhere else, that those things are looking good, retransmission and asymptomatic?
What we're hearing is that the vaccines are having a big impact in those countries where they're getting significant numbers out there. So they're seeing less hospitalisations. They're terrible situations that they were facing. For instance, in the UK, just a couple of months ago, it was looking like a complete disaster. Things starting to settle down, and that is as a direct result of vaccination. Now, of course, we're not in that situation here in Australia. We haven't had a death since October, so we've just got quite a different situation, but there's still a very strong push to get everybody vaccinated.
What's your read on confidence in the vaccine among Australians?
Look, I think we're seeing a large group of people that are pretty confident and will just go with the flow and get vaccinated, but a significant group who are not anti-vaxxers, who are just saying, well, this has all happened pretty quickly. I'd like to know a bit more about it. I'd like to watch what happens as it starts to roll out here in Australia. And that's okay. We've got a bit of time for people to get their heads around it. But it's really clear that the only way for us to get through this pandemic and to anything like what we used to know before as normal life, the only way is for everybody to get vaccinated.
Was it the right decision to make it non-compulsory?
I think it was the right decision. There's really no benefit into forcing people to make decisions, and particularly when we were making these calls, we knew very little about the vaccines that could have potentially been made compulsory. So the challenge really is to sell the vaccine, to show, to gain people's confidence, and to also, I guess, remind everyone that we're not just taking the vaccine for ourselves, to protect ourselves from getting ill, but we're doing it to protect the other people, the vulnerable. There'll be some that don't mount an adequate immune response, even though they've been vaccinated, so they're still vulnerable if they're elderly, in a nursing home, whatever it is. And each of us can do our bit to help protect those people by getting ourselves vaccinated.
Now, Mr. President, I'm always asking you questions that you can't answer, but I'll try one more time. When do you anticipate life returning to normal, including overseas travel?
Look, I think full overseas travel is going to require the rest of the world to settle down, but I would hope that we could start to see a more relaxed attitude to our domestic borders towards the end of this vaccination program. So as we're heading towards October, where our premiers will know that their populations are actually protected now, they're not going to see a huge outbreak, even if something does get through. I think those domestic borders will relax. International borders, look, my guess would be sometime in 2022, but that is really just a stab in the dark.
And when will you get it?
Look, I'm going to get it as soon as I'm eligible or someone offers it to me. So, there's been some whispers. Maybe you'd like to go and get vaccinated early, but no firm offers as yet. But I'll be, as a healthcare worker, in phase 1B. So I'm guessing that that's when I'll be getting it done.